Michigan's adventure. As sad as it is, we all love to make fun of the Cedar Fair Park in Muskegon, Michigan. Their recent additions have been great, however, with the innovative new for 2019 trash can and the jaw-dropping new for 2017 bench. And let's not forget about that bush they put in back in 2013. But actually, Cedar Fair has really neglected this park ever since its acquisition in 2001. They've barely gotten anything. However, if we went back in time nearly 2 decades, what would happen if Cedar Fair started favoring Michigan's adventure from the beginning? Hello everyone, and welcome back to Amazing Coasters. I have another one of these hypothetical scenarios for you guys today, so I hope you enjoy. Also remember that we are trying to get to 200 subscribers before the end of the year, so if you want to help the channel achieve this goal, be sure to subscribe and share this channel with a friend. Also, every like additionally helps us here, so if you like what you see, be sure to hit that thumbs up. Okay, so now on with the video. What would happen if Michigan's adventure was a top-tier Cedar Fair park? Okay, so first, let's look at their coaster lineup present day. There is Corkscrew, which is just your standard corkscrew model, really nothing special there. There is Mad Mouse, your standard Wild Mouse clone. Thunderhawk, a supposedly terrible Vekoma SLC clone. Wolverine Wildcat, a rough Din Corporation out and back wooden coaster. Zack's Zoomer, a small CCI wooden coaster. And the head of the pack, Shivering Timbers, a massive CCI out and back woody with loads of airtime and over 5,000 feet of track. Okay, so besides Shivering Timbers, this lineup is, I'm sorry, just not good. It's just not. Now, I am aware that they will be receiving a kiddie coaster in 2021, but I don't think that will really help. Their last new coaster was in 2008, and that was just a relocation. Their last coaster with an original layout was all the way back in 1998, over 2 decades ago. So back on track, no pun intended, this means that Michigan's Adventures lineup in 2001, when Cedar Fair acquired the park, would look nearly identical to right now. The only discrepancies between the two lineups would be that Thunderhawk would not have arrived at the park yet and would still be at Geauga Lake, and Big Dipper, a now defunct kiddie coaster, would still be operating at the park. Okay, so first, let's answer my main question by going back into the past. We are going to predict what additions Michigan's Adventure would have received if they were a top-tier Cedar Fair park since day one. Okay, so it's 2001, Cedar Fair just bought the park for $28 million US, and so with the arrival of Cedar Fair, I would just expect overall park improvements for 2001, and some kiddie attractions in 2002. Nothing really major, and this is just them making sure that the park is up to Cedar Fair standards. In 2003, however, Michigan's Adventure would get a Huss Topspin. This is a thrilling flat ride, and it would be a great addition to this small regional park. Now in 2004, Cedar Fair really kicks it up to a whole nother level with an Intamin hypercoaster. Think Superman the Ride at Six Flags New England. This ride would be over 200 feet tall, have many airtime hills and banked turns, and would feature a minimal T-bar restraint. Now, although Cedar Fair is a little more reluctant to build Intamins these days, mainly due to their reliability issues, the early 2000s were a different story. Monstrous attractions like Top Thrill Dragster, Millennium Force, and Accelerator were being constructed. So after such a huge year, 2005 would have to be an off year, but in 2006, Cedar Fair would jump right back into it with a River Rapids ride. This park would do their best to theme it and make it a high-capacity attraction. So at this time, Michigan's Adventures family coaster category would be pretty lacking, so in 2007, Cedar Fair would install some more kiddie flat rides and the clone of Spinning Dragons at Worlds of Fun. This is a Gerstlauer spinning coaster, kind of like the Pandemoniums at Six Flags parks, and sure, it's a clone, but who cares? It's a small family coaster and filler for next year, which would bring a B&M inverted coaster. These are overall crowd pleasers, maybe not as crowd pleasing as the hypercoasters, but still a lot of people love them, and they are unique as well. This would of course have to have an original layout, And Thunderhawk, Geauga Lakes SLC, was supposed to go here in the year 2008, but I'm predicting it would get shipped to a park like Valley Fair instead. So after this $16 or $17 million inverted coaster, Michigan's Adventure would definitely need an off year in 2009, but the following year in 2010, Michigan's Adventure would add an S&S Scream and Swing. Oh, and by the way, these predictions aren't even taking into account their water park. Just assume that a new slide could be coming whenever general park improvements or smaller, minor attractions come to the dry park. Like I said earlier, 2010 would bring an S&S Scream and Swing, and 2011 would once again be geared towards the kids. It is no secret that families bring in the most revenue for the parks, from buying tickets to purchasing more food and items inside the park. So now it would have been 4 years since this elite Cedar Fair park got yet another coaster, so in 2012 that would change. They would get a launched family coaster. This could mean something similar to Verbolten at Busch Gardens Williamsburg, Fire Chaser Express at Dollywood, or Wave Breaker at SeaWorld San Antonio. Michigan's Adventure would need this addition because they wouldn't have a single launch coaster, and with a top-tier park like this, they would definitely need one. Plus, it's always nice to focus once again on those families. The next year they would receive a Windseeker. These are always great additions, but there's not much to say about it. 2014 would be another launch coaster, just to further the park's ride lineup depth, and it would come in the form of a Premier Rides Skyrocket 2. This is a compact, single inversion launch coaster, and one of these can even be found at Busch Gardens Williamsburg with Tempesto. And correct me if I'm mistaken, but I don't think that Cedar Fair has ever worked with Premier Rides. If they did, however, be sure to tell me in the comments below, but I don't remember any. However, I'm taking a leap with Michigan's Adventure's 2014 prediction and saying that they will build a Premier Rides Skyrocket 2. 2015 would be park improvements because, well, the park just had a couple of big years. Plus, in 2015, Cedar Fair was kind of concentrating all of their money into Carowinds, with Fury 325 and their new front gate. So nothing major new in 2015, but in 2016, Michigan's Adventure would get Valraven. Valraven is a B&M dive coaster that opened at Cedar Point in 2016, and was supposed to open at Canada's Wonderland, but we won't get into that. So instead of being built at Cedar Point, that ride would just be constructed here. 2017 would again bring nothing because dive coasters are expensive. Valraven cost over $25 million, so yeah. Nothing new in 2017, but 2018 would bring an interactive shooting dark ride. Just something to give the park more variety. 2019 would then come with kids rides, and 2020 would bring a Zamperla Giant Discovery. This is an awesome looking flat ride, and although I've never experienced one myself, I've heard they are a blast. So this brings us back to present day. In this hypothetical scenario, I think the future would bring one of those S&S drop tower complexes, like Power Tower at Valley Fair. However, all 3 of these towers would be different. There would be the standard drop tower, just a slow ride up and then a drop down. The second one would be the S&S Space Shot, and this is kind of like a regular drop tower, but it gets launched up the tower and then thrust down faster than gravity. And the third one would be the craziest of them all, the Spin Shot Tower. This is S&S's new concept, and it's like the Space Shot, but the seats rotate and flip, kind of like a 4D roller coaster, throughout the entire experience. I would also see an RMC conversion of Wolverine Wildcat, and a Gerstlauer Infinity Coaster like Hang Time at Knott's Berry Farm in this park's future. But that is really all for this video. Tell me down below, is there anything you would change about my crazy predictions? And if so, what? Thank you so much to everyone who made it this far into the video, and I'll see you all next time.